Hey there everyone, I'm Shovelcat and welcome to Shovel Showcase. I'm playing a little bit of Stormcaller here on Bucko's Grave. The interesting thing about this replay is that it's a little bit of a mirror matchup. Of course, both teams have a Stormcaller and a Blood Priest, but we also both have a melee DPSer, and the difference between the melee DPSers on our team is kind of how a determining factor in how this match is going to go. And I suppose kind of like what the difference between them is mostly is the nether shift that is available. There we go, like that. Is that the Harbinger can use nether shift on anybody on his team. Whereas the Spearmaster, he has defensive abilities that he can only use on himself. And in addition to that, Harbinger also has abilities to get in and then out. Whereas people have said that Spearmaster only has abilities to really get himself in a whole bunch of times. And right there, we can see that the pretty much the ultimate caught my pinky right there. And this Blood Priest, if you would have seen the matchup between him and the Stormcaller, he would have actually beat this Stormcaller if I hadn't have died to that ultimate. If I had survived that, I would have actually been able to press the enemy Blood Priest away and been able to survive that, but instead my pinky toe got caught on the ultimate and whatever. That's what happened there. So just, we were talking in general about the difference between our comps is that theirs is a little bit more aggressive, whereas ours is a little bit more not necessarily passive, because I don't think anybody can really call Harbinger a passive character. He does have a lot more options in terms of range and stuff, which means that it is to our benefit to have a long range battle. If they were to retreat into their bridge up there, we could really just take center and then we could bottleneck them at this one gate area right here. And that would be a really bad position for them. So they actually kind of have to take control of center as quickly as possible, or else we really will have the advantage. And then it is kind of our job to, once they have center, to pretty much move in on them, because we do have a lot of defensive abilities that allow us to move towards them. Especially if, say for instance, if I got overextended, I could have the blood shield put on me and then follow that up with another shift if it takes me that long to get out from pressure. That's actually one of the things about Stormcaller. With his incredibly short cooldown space, he's actually not too good necessarily of chasing after people. However, he is pretty good at getting behind enemy lines, so to speak, apply a couple of stacks of static on someone, and then escape. Now, right there, I was kind of doing a little bit of escape. Now, you see the Stormcaller, he uses his ultimate, and the Blood Priest used his ultimate over here. The thing is that their ultimates were kind of separated, and what that meant was that I was able to dodge the Blood Priest's ultimate, but the Harbinger was not. However, right there, we were on this tiny little bridge here, and the Blood Priest was able to use his ultimate, and nobody was able to dodge it. And then I got my ultimate kind of late after that, and then they had already used their outs to escape the first ultimate and then the second one. So that was kind of a really good coordinating of both of our ultimates. Well, it's actually kind of like an accidental, because this is standard, so it's random team. But it was an accidental coordination that was actually really, really good. If you can do that on purpose, then kudos to you, and that is a very effective strategy. I've played teams before where all we did was just coordinate two ultimates to happen at the same time, and you would usually get a kill directly after that. Also, you'll usually see me wait for, say for instance, if I have a ultimate and the other team has the alchemist on it, you'll usually see me wait for their barrier to, first off, for them to use their barrier, and then for it to come off. Now, right there, you actually saw two ultimates at the same time, the Spearmaster one and also the Stormcaller one. And even if I had used my R at that exact moment, it wouldn't have helped any because it's two ultimates. I could only block one of them. But anyway, like I was saying, wait for a barrier to be on cooldown for me to use it. Now, the really cool thing about Stormcaller versus Alchemist is their panic button, so to speak, for Alchemist is to use barrier. So if that's on cooldown and you're using your ultimate on them, their next panic button is probably going to be sleep. However, against Stormcaller's ultimate, he can actually keep on using his little lightning fingers for well after he's been encapped by the sleep. So it really doesn't do anything, and you can keep on hitting people. So pretty much Alchemist, if you have your ultimate, just wait for them to use their space, and in fact force them to use barrier, and then when it comes off you can push the F button and the Alchemist will die. So that's done for the first replay, and I have a little bit more content coming up here in a second. And welcome back. The last game was a little bit interesting because it was kind of a mirror matchup. Here we kind of have a little bit of a... It's still a little bit mirror, but not quite for several reasons. First off, we both have a melee tank. However, they have Herald, and Herald is actually kind of interesting because of his relationship with most ranged. People kind of expect, I put down Chronoflux, now you can't do anything. However, he has a short cooldown on his space, so every time you put down Chronoflux, he can usually just get to the other side of it, or he can just throw down Hailstorm on the other side, and it's hard to get out of. And that's not something that Igniter can do, for instance. But you can also use your Meteor Shard. And that, of course, assumes that you've already built up the energy in order to use that. But that's kind of assuming if you don't have your space to get to the other side of Chronoflux, then you can use Meteor, because more than likely you've built up enough energy for it. Also, their Glutton is... It's a little bit of an interesting matchup versus Stormcaller. I've had problems versus Gluttons before because he's a bloodline that can just get in your face and then you knock him away and then he gets in your face again. So I found that Stormcaller is one of those bloodlines that you actually have to plan ahead with. Most bloodlines you don't necessarily have to plan ahead with so much. You can really just use your abilities whenever you need them. However, if they have a melee that can jump on you, encap you before you have the chance of doing anything, and then combo that up with something else, then what I would suggest doing is if somebody looks at you the wrong way, put your R on yourself. It lasts for a whole lot of time. It's 2.5 second shield. That's I'm pretty sure that's the longest shield in the entire game. Now, if you put your shield up and they jump on you, you can actually, I'm pretty sure very many people don't know this, but when you hit your R again, it will shoot out the beams, right? But you can also use it when you're encapped. You can use it no matter what. It doesn't matter if you're encapped or stunned or whatever, you can still shoot it out. So right there, if I would have used my shield before he used meat and meat on me, then I could have pushed him away before he hit me all those times. And that time, if I would have spaced to behind the igniter, then that would have been cool. But I spaced in front of the igniter, so that means I kept on getting pushed back. And after that, I really didn't have anything that could do. I mean, I guess I could have used EX1, but that would have only saved me for a little while. But anyway, if you use your shield before somebody jumps on you, then that means that you can push them back. So he's somebody that you plan ahead before people do that. Like, for instance, we could do a little shuffles drawing thing, but I don't have it set up right now. If I would have used a Hailstorm right there, while the Igniter and the Herald were right there, we could have funneled them possibly through this area, or something similar to that. And we could have isolated the Grimlar, not the Grimlar, the Glutton. Stormcaller seems to be a lot about the mantra of isolate and damage. Pretty much you want to predict what people want to do, and then you want to kind of isolate them, or rather you want to predict what people want to do, and then kind of try and figure out, how can I make this person's day really, really bad? They have plans to go to the store, or, you know, like hang up their laundry or something like that. So if I blow a bunch of wind in their backyard, and if I make their car break down, then that will just ruin their day. So it's kind of like, if this guy wants to go down down this narrow way, and if I put a hailstorm in his way, then that's going to ruin his day. So he's a lot of predicting and planning ahead, and also kind of figuring out what you can do in order to help your allies the most. I've done a lot of times where I've put my shield on another person, specifically because they're getting targeted by a bunch of people, or I just want to reduce the damage that they take from a dot, or if I want to double tap R on somebody and push a melee off of them. You can use it to peel people, and you can use it to damage people. Now, right there, I made a couple of different mistakes. One of them was that I saw that I was really damaged. I was really low on health and everything, and there was a lot of people down in this, let me switch views over here. There was a lot of people down in this middle area here, and my thinking was, if I space to the other side of this wall, I can line of sight all of those enemies, and I can continue doing damage while avoiding damage, because I don't want to run away to some random corner and go use my bloodline medallion, because that's not going to help any. That's almost like I had just died, and then I get resurrected 10 seconds later. So naturally that means that my allies are going to get 2v3'd in the middle of the map. So instead of doing that, I wanted to still do damage to the Herald from a different angle. The problem was that I also line of sighted my ally. I also line of sighted my Grimrock. And that of course meant that I didn't get any healing, and that the Grimrock probably, I can't see into his mind obviously, but I can imagine he probably panicked and said, oh god, my Stormcaller is about to die. If I space over there, then that's a good idea. What he didn't know was I was about to have Chronoflux drop directly on me, and that was going to M1 myself in the face. So that didn't work out too well. Now right there, you probably, you can't see the fact that I put a hailstorm on the other side of that wall, but it was just like, I pretty much imagined that there was a whole clump of people on the other side of that wall, and in order to help my Thorn buddy over there, I just dropped down a hailstorm in order to just drop some DPS on people and stuff like that. And also, you see right here, I was putting myself on this side of the Thorn's ultimate, specifically in order to protect myself from the Igniter. I'm at really low health here, so I really do not want to take damage. So I put down a hailstorm here in order to keep the Glutton from coming around the corner, and use my ultimate, because as they come around the corner, they're kind of clumped up and stuff. So it's a little bit of predicting stuff right there. Anyway, we're done with the replay section for today. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.